Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are reading last paragraph of Preface. People in general, especially in this age of Kali, are enamored by the external energy of Krishna, and they wrongly think that by advancement of material comforts every man will be happy. Here Prabhupada is telling us that in this age of Kali, which is this age? Age of, it's known as Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas: Satyug, Treta, Dwapar and Kali Yuga. So now we are running the Kali Yuga. So the Prabhupada is saying, especially in all ages also, people are attracted by not the Lord but by His energy. And that energy is also which energy? The material energy. Now, and by getting attracted to the material energy, what happens? Actually, they wrongly think that they are going to get happiness. Why do you do anything? For getting happiness. Anything which you do in life is only for one thing, and that is to get happiness. You want success, material success, want a position in life, you want anything in material life is for happiness. And we think that we're going to get happiness by what? By the external energy. Now energy, there are 3 basic energies of the Lord. Try to understand. One is called external energy. So opposite will be internal energy. And third, marginal energy. There are 3 energies: external, internal and marginal, known as Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti and Tatastha Shakti. Now what does this mean? Bahiranga means external, it is out. It is not inside. Internal means the internal, inside. Like you can say that if you want to understand this particular external and internal energy is this, that internal energy is for the Lord, external energy is actually not for the Lord. It is for the bewildered jivas. Which jivas? Bewildered, not intelligent jivas. Intelligent jivas are under the internal energy, and the bewildered jivas are under the external energy. Now you will say, why should we be under any energy? Why should we be under any energy? Because we are Tatastha. Tatastha means marginal. Marginal means in the middle. Now Tatastha, Tat in Sanskrit means, Tat is actually, when you go to the river, there is a thin line dividing the river and the beach and the sand. Now that thin line is under water or is in the sand portion, but it has to be under the sand or under the water. It can't, it has got no independent existence. So we also don't have any, we are marginal. We have to be under one of the 2. Now it is our choice, we want to be under the internal energy or we want to be under the external energy. So when a person is wrongly thinking, Prabhupada uses the word wrongly thinking. What are they thinking? That they can get happiness by the external energy of the Lord. They are thinking they'll get happiness by external energy of the Lord. That means their thinking is wrong. For example, if you make a house of sand on the seashore and think that you're going to live in it for 100 years, is it right thinking or wrong thinking? Why? Because the sand which you have made the house, the moment the high tide comes, it will be washed away. You say you want to build a boat of paper and sit on it, sit in the paper boat and cross the ocean. Wrong thinking, right thinking? In the same way, When we start thinking that the external energy of the Lord can give give us happiness, that means this is a wrong thinking. Wrong thinking means, another word for wrong thinking means less intelligent. What does it mean? Less intelligent. That's why the Srimad Bhagavatam actually states that people of Kali Yuga will be less intelligent, because they will be attracted towards the external energy. Yes, it is also the energy of the Lord, but the basic fact is this: the Lord is saying that by the external energy, because you are not compatible to this energy. You are not compatible. Paper and water is not compatible, in the sense that paper cannot float on water. What will happen? It will soak water and it will disintegrate. It will be finished. So you can't make a boat out of paper and sail in the ocean. We are actually a part of the internal energy. So where will we be happy? In the internal or in the external? Internal energy, another name is spiritual. External energy, another name is material. So soul is spiritual or material? Spiritual. So how can a spiritual being be happy by matter? It cannot be. Because matter is jad. Jad means no. Jad actually means got no consciousness. It has got no consciousness. So as we are not compatible to the external energy, that is why we cannot be happy. We cannot mix. We don't mix well. It is just like oil and water. Like oil and water. Can you mix them? They remain separate. So in the same way, we may be here, but we don't mix. That is why, being the Lord of the energy of the Lord, still the police, energy of the Lord, energy of the government, are you compatible with the police when inside jail or outside jail? Outside jail. Inside jail, they punish you, and outside the jail they protect you. See, one place they are punishing you, and the other place they are protecting you. Now what does punishment mean actually? Giving you suffering. Giving you what? Suffering. And protection from what? Suffering. So the same police is protecting you from suffering when you are outside the jail. Then when you are inside the jail, the same police is inflicting suffering. So in the same way, the energy of the Lord, when in the material world, what will happen to us? Suffering. But when we are under the internal energy, the same energy, protection means, will give happiness. Will give, because suffering will be removed. There will be no suffering. What do we want in life? Happiness. Actually, in reality, we are all Sat, Chit and Anand. Anand means what? Happiness, bliss. Anand means bliss. We are actually blissful. But what has happened? Because as we have come under the external energy, our bliss has been hidden. It can't be stopped. It is still there. Because the soul is stated to be, it is not changeable. It does not change. That means it is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. But it has been covered like water. For example, water gets dirty? No, dirt gets into the water. That's why the water becomes dirty. Otherwise, water is every time pure. You heat it, it will evaporate, and then you condense it, it is pure water. You remove the impurity, but we say impure water. It is wrong saying, because water never becomes impure. Impurities have come into the water. If you remove them, then it becomes pure. So now you got your answer to your question. That is why what we are trying to come back to our original position, remove this impurity, get away from the jail, material nature. So here Prabhupada says very clearly, they wrongly think that with advancement of material comforts, every man will be happy. By advancement of material comforts, that's what we are trying in life. All of us, what are we trying to do? Increase material comforts. The word is suvidha. What are we trying to do? Increase suvidha, comfort. That's what we are trying to increase the comfort. Now comfort, actually increasing comfort means reducing suffering, not finishing suffering. Reducing suffering. Happiness is not necessary you have comforts, you will be happy. Right or wrong? People ask, you got everything in life and then also they commit suicide. Why? They have come into IIT and then also they commit suicide. Why? Why are the people who have got more wealth and more comforts are got more tension than people who have got less? There is no direct relationship between comfort and happiness. Comfort is actually feel good factor. I call comfort as feel good factor. You feel good. You are happy? Not necessary. You may feel good. It's a feel good factor. But happiness is something different. You may have or you may not have. It's not only if you don't have comfort you will be happy. No. Happiness has got nothing to do with your comfort. Comfort means air condition, nice house. These things have got nothing to do with happiness. You may have them or you may not have them. Has got no direct relationship with your happiness. And that is what spiritual knowledge actually teaches you. That how to remain happy in any condition of life. How to be happy in any condition of life. That is what spiritual knowledge teaches you about. So it is practically applicable today. It is good for the future, because by following this knowledge, you get out of this material energy which is known as the external energy, Bhagavad Shakti, and go back to your own habitat. Habitat means home. What is the natural habitat of the tiger? Zoo or forest? Forest. Understood now? That is the habitat. So we go back home, back to Godhead. When you start this process, when you start becoming rich, what happens? From 100 to 1000 you become Hazarpati, owner of 1,000 rupees. Then you become Lakhapati, the owner of 1,00,000 rupees. That means you start becoming, before you becoming a Karodapati, a millionaire, before that you become a thousandaire. Right? So you start getting that feel. In the same way, when you take up this spiritual knowledge, you start getting that happiness. Now, by this one thing you can understand, all of us want to become dependent or independent. Right? Today you are dependent on the comforts, suvidhaएं. But when you take up to spiritual life, you become dependent or independent. By becoming dependent on the Supreme Lord, you become independent. Whereas if you become dependent on the material nature, you never become independent. You become more dependent. But by surrendering to Krishna, you become independent. Oh. Whereas if you surrender to material energy, you become more and more dependent. Because once you get into the habit of the comforts of life, very difficult to give them up. You can't live like a labor. Can you now? No. The one who's breaking stones, can you become one of them? Can you live like them? No. Because you have been used to some particular level of comfort. That means you are dependent on that comfort, on that suvidhas. So you become dependent. You are on crutches.